Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Wisconsin.
After a long road trip, the Brew Crew back home. The tailgating is underway on a new 10-game homestand for the Milwaukee Brewers as they welcome in the Los Angeles Dodgers, the first of a 4-game series coming up this week from Miller Park. As we welcome you to Game 1 of the broadcast, I'm Craig Kershaw alongside Jerry Augustine here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. At a new chapter in Brewers history, the Craig Counsell era gets underway tonight. Kind of a bittersweet night, isn't it?
It is, because Ron Renicky did such a great job. He did some great things with our ball club. A good manager, a good teacher, and most of all, a good person. But it brings up a new atmosphere around this ball club. You talk about Craig Counsell. He talks about making a positive atmosphere where the talent in this ball club can go out and succeed, and that's what he wants to do.
Well, we're going to hear from Craig and also Doug Melvin here. And yesterday, the Brewers got back from Chicago and let go of Ron Renicky. This after the team had gone 4-3 over their last 7 games, but they were off to a 25-game worst start in baseball this season. And some of this dates back to last year as well, as we hear from General Manager Doug Melvin.
We played, I think, 28 games under 500 over our last 100 games, and it didn't have a good feel to it. So I just felt that we needed to make a change. It happened much sooner than I thought. I had a lot of confidence in Ron. This spring, I convinced Mark Attanasio to extend him and give him a contract. And I guess in this business, managers get fired, general managers get fired, players get released. We all know that that's part of the business. But I want to thank Ron for what he brought to this organization over his time here.
So that's General Manager Doug Melvin welcoming in Craig Counsell now as he has to let go of Ron Renicky. Team turns to Counsell now, hometown hero. He rooted for, played for, and now gets a chance to manage his hometown Milwaukee Brewers. Let's welcome in Sophia Minert. She's our reporter now for the broadcast for tonight's game. And Sophia, bottom line, a very rare opportunity for Craig Counsell.
Yeah, Craig Counsell at his press conference this morning said this opportunity is the one. He said, quite frankly, you don't get many opportunities like this one. He said, for 35 years, I've been supporting the Brewers as a kid, as a former player, from the front office perspective as well. So he said, baseball and this city is a big part of me, and I feel a big responsibility to carry that on. And so he spoke this morning about the opportunity to take over as the Brewers' 19th manager.
I'm a Brewer, and that, that means something. It does. The logo means something to me. It does. My dad worked here, Like I said, I've been at County Stadium since I was 10. So it does. It's part of you. And, I think that just, it gets you more excited about it. It makes you want to work harder for it. It makes you want to work harder at it, because there is something more. It's not. This isn't a. I'm not looking at this as a job. This is not a second career. This is what I just my passion of what I want to do.
Craig Counsell said this is the place that he has prepared himself to be, and when asked about controlling the nerves for his first game, he said, look, I'm not going to pretend that this is normal. He said, it shouldn't feel normal. This is a big night for me. Very excited for this opportunity to take over as the new manager of the Brewers.
Well, he's been very real, that's for sure. Jerry's a state native, too. Yeah. He understands, also pitched for the Brewers. Now you're broadcasting for this team. It's been quite a run and a rare opportunity as well.
It is. It's pride. When you get the opportunity to play this ball club, you get to be around these fans and live in this great area, you become a part of it. It becomes a part of you no matter what you do on a day-to-day basis. And I understand totally what Craig was saying there. When you see that logo, it means something to you. Every time you go past the ballpark, you look at it in a special way. And it's really a special time for me to do this. But I tell you, to have Craig in being a manager, I am proud that he's a manager because I've known him since he's been 10 years old. He's a good guy. He's a good player, and he really believes in this ball club.
All right, now he's got a big job, big task at hand as well, becoming the new manager, and then his debut against this guy, Clayton Kershaw, and the Dodgers are in town. The MVP and the Cy Young Award winner as well. We'll talk about that when we come back. On all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Craig Counsell's Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Dodgers tonight. Clayton Kershaw on the hill for L.A. Kyle Lohse for Milwaukee. The two aces of their staffs. Kyle Lohse still looking to get things rolling here for Milwaukee right now. The home run ball's pretty much been what's gotten him so far this season.
Yeah, and it has to do with getting off to a good start. When you talk about Kyle Lohse, there's three things you look at. First of all, it's the command. Secondly, it's the location. And thirdly, getting ahead of hitters. When he struggled early in the ball game, he has a tendency to get the ball up over the plate. He's been giving up home runs. So early in the game, he must have that good success with his fastball, breaking ball, changeup, getting it over with good location and on each pitch.
Went deep in his last start against the Reds, 7 innings, but gave up 3 home runs. He's given up 8 on the season. That is third most in the league right now. Clayton Kershaw hardly has any of those type of issues. In fact, he's 4-0 here at Miller Park with an ERA under 1 alone. But the Brewers have defeated him, and that was last season.
Yes, they did. They got to him early. Clayton Kershaw is a guy who's struggled a little bit this so far this season. He's got a 3.7 ERA, but the one thing with Clayton Kershaw, he's got a little hitch in his delivery. He's got great stuff. He locates all his pitches. When you talk about facing a guy like him, you have to get him early.
Let's bring back Sophia Minert now for more on Clayton Kershaw. And for one, Craig Counsell probably doesn't really need a scouting report. He's on it.
Yeah, there's maybe no tougher task for Craig Craig Counsell in his managerial debut and going up against the reigning Cy Young Award winner Clayton Kershaw, but he said, hey, welcome to the big leagues. This is the show. This is what we have to do. So he said it's just one of many challenges that he'll have to deal with as manager.
The challenges are, they're two of the best in the game. But I think we're, like I said, those challenges happen every night. They're always in different forms. There's a challenge, in different forms. And I think the players, you find challenges every night, and there's going to be a different challenge for each guy every night. But it's good we're going up against those guys. Let's bring it. It's going to happen. Let's do it. So that's the attitude you take, and maybe as if anything, it hopefully puts us on top of our game as much as anything, because you got to be on top of your game to beat these guys.
It's a milestone night for Craig Counsell, and it could potentially be a milestone night for Clayton Kershaw as well. He is unbeaten in his 4 starts here at Miller Park. A win tonight would be his 100th career win. Kyle Loesch and the Brewers looking to keep him off that milestone for another night.
Yes, keep it 99. He doesn't need to get that in Milwaukee right now, that's for sure. But there's Clayton Kershaw, and those numbers at Miller Park are gaudy. A perfect 4-0 record. He's barely given up a thing in a park that has been very friendly to hitters such as Aramis Ramirez and the Brew Crew. Matt and Rock, our game announcers, waiting for you on the other side as we're set to play ball here in Milwaukee.
So getting ready to make his managerial debut tonight as the Brewers get set to face the Los Angeles Dodgers. Good evening from Miller Park alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Matt LePace. A Field Minute is our reporter here tonight. And Rock, we'll get more into Counsell obviously as we continue with our coverage tonight, but I think even Craig would tell you, let it be about the players, and the players are going to have to continue to, they're showing signs, continue to raise their level. And one guy doing that right now is Aramis Ramirez. He is on a bit of a roll.
Yeah, it all starts with the big boys. I mean, Ryan Braun, he needs to hit. Aramis Ramirez, a historically slow starter. But, last year in the month of April, he was outstanding. But this April, not so much. But you can see what he's been able to do in his last 9 games. A .407 batting average, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Really jumping at the baseball early on. I think Rami just trying to get the timing down and trying to get that comfort level. But right now, as you can see with some of these highlights, he's driving the ball to the opposite field, starting to hit with some power. A notorious first ball, fastball hitter. He hit a first pitch out of the ballpark in Chicago. The Brewers need a lot of that out of Aramis Ramirez. Ryan Braun, the rest of the guys, they need to continue to swing the bats.
Guys like Ramirez, he is our T-Mobile game changer. Those 8 RBIs, 8 of his 10 coming in the last 9 games. We're ready to roll. Kyle Loesch, Clayton Kershaw, your matchup, the Brewers and the Dodgers. First of 4 coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. As the Brewers and LA Dodgers get set for the first of 4 here at Miller Park. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Dodgers and Brewers matching up. First time that the Dodgers have been outside the Pacific time zone as this first week of May unfolds. Otherwise, a pretty day here. Good tailgating weather as the fans file it into Miller Park to see the Brewers and their new manager, Counsell, take on the LA Dodgers, a team that comes to town on a nice little winning streak. Kyle Loesch getting ready to make his 400th career start. So he takes the mound here at Miller Park tonight. First of 4 against LA, 10-game homestand. The Cubs are in this weekend, and then next week, a series with the Chicago White Sox. But first, Don Mattingly and the LA Dodgers coming off a weekend sweep of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have won 4 straight. Been in with a record of 16-8 beginning the work week. Here's the Dodgers batting order presented by Potawatomi. Jock Peterson leads things off in center field. Jimmy Rollins, Howie Kendrick rounding out the top 3. Adrian Gonzalez off to a terrific start. Player of the month in the National League in April. Scott Van Slyke, Andre Ethier, followed by Yasmani Grandal, Juan Uribe, and Clayton Kershaw rounding out the batting order against Kyle Loesch.
Yeah, Kyle's still trying to figure it out, get to that consistency that he had a year ago. Last time out, they lost to Cincinnati. Well, in Cincinnati, 7 innings, 4 runs. He gave up 3 home runs, 2 of them in a 3-run 4th inning. That was his undoing, but much better the rest of the way. Let's check out the Brewers defensively, brought to you by Menards tonight. Davis, Gomez, and Braun pretty much the same in the outfield. Ramirez, Hector Gomez at short. Gene Segura out with that. Got hit by a pitch in the helmet in yesterday's ball game. Herrera at second. Jason Rogers gets a start at first base, and Martin Maldonado behind home plate.
Calling the balls and strikes tonight, the crew chief, Jerry Niels. Paul Emmel over at first base. Jordan Baker at second. And Andy Fletcher making the calls over at third. As we are ready to roll, and here's one of the good-looking young players in the National League, Jock Peterson, set to lead things off, and you see the power numbers that he has shown through the first month. And he was someone who was called up last September, and the stats were very modest, but had a monster year in AAA. As we get ready to roll, as Kyle Lohse delivers a strike, and we are underway at Miller Park.
Yeah, you wonder how the matchup for Kyle Lohse is going to be. He's given up 8 home runs this year, second most in the National League, and the Dodgers as a team have hit more home runs than any team in the National League. So something's got to give tonight.
Yeah, they come in with 38 home runs. And even in a game yesterday, which was a pitcher's duel and then some for Don Mattingly's Dodgers, they won in 13 innings, 1-0. And a home run was the difference. And there is Jock Peterson launching one. And just like that, it's 1-0 Dodgers.
Yeah, that's been the bugaboo for Kyle Lohse. Wow. Gave up 3 home runs in his last start. And first batter here tonight, a long ball from Peterson. So the Brewers, under Craig Counsell, are going to have to play from behind. Number 7 for Peterson, number 39 for the Dodgers. And they showing some power this year.
So just like that, the Dodgers grab the lead, and that's the second leadoff homer already this season for Jock Peterson. Here's Jimmy Rollins. This is a different looking Dodgers team. This was an active group in the offseason, a club that won 94 games a year ago. As Rollins will lift one to left field toward the line, and no room for Chris Davis. The Dodgers had the terrific regular season, but got bumped out in the divisional round by the St. Louis Cardinals in 4 games, and they have reshuffled the deck in L.A.
And so far so good. Leading the NL Central and doing a lot of different ways than they had in the past. Hitting home runs. They don't run much. It used to be a team that would run a lot. Dodger Stadium, not a real home run friendly ballpark, but they're hitting them out regularly so far this year.
Rollins, after 15 years with the Phillies, now with the Dodgers, and he strikes out swinging. So Lohse, after giving up a leadoff homer, strikes out Jimmy Rollins. And another one of the new faces after nearly a decade with the Angels. Makes the short move from the Angels to the Dodgers. 9 years with Anaheim. Hit .293 a year ago. Howie Kendrick takes a strike. Dodgers with that 16-8 record, including 4 straight. They lead San Diego by 3 in the National League West. The team that has truly taken advantage of Dodger Stadium. They've won 13 of their 15 games at home. This is road game number 10 so far through the first 9. They have won just 3. 2-strike pitch.
And they've always been known as a team that relies on good pitching, particularly starting pitching. They have that this year. Plus, they have the offense to go with it.
Yeah, Mattingly's Dodgers have hit well. They have pitched well without being at full strength. Yasiel Puig, the DL. Hyun-Jin Ryu, one of the starters in the Dodger rotation, has been moved to the 60-day DL. Now they say there's been no setback. He's been throwing a couple of bullpen sessions and still could come off by late May. Brandon McCarthy, one of their acquisitions, headed for Tommy John surgery. But through that, they have had, as we've talked about, a very good start. I should mention the Brewers coming in with all the news with the managing change, coming off their first series win of the year in Chicago. And the crew has won 3 of 4 now to begin this homestand. Split the 6 games on the road trip.
And Doug Melvin, general manager, has said today that it wasn't so much what was going on just this year. It was kind of a hangover from last year. The last 100 games have not gone all that well for the Brewers.
Kendrick strikes out swinging, and there are 2 men out in the Dodgers first.
And felt that a change was was due. They made it, and Craig Counsell was the guy. There's a good cut fastball off the outside corner.
So after Peterson leads off with a homer, Rollins and Kendrick go down on strikes, and here is Adrian Gonzalez now, who Loesch will be dealing with. And Gonzalez has been good, period, and he loves Miller Park, better than a .400 hitter in his career in this ballpark, including 9 home runs.
And some pretty good numbers against Kyle Loesch. 10 for 26, a couple of homers.
When the Dodgers were here for a series last August, Gonzalez was 7 for 10, including a couple of home runs and 3 doubles. Led the big leagues in RBIs, and you see last year, and you can see the start he's off to in 2015. A great opening month for the first baseman. Here's the 1-2.
And not just hitting for average, but hitting for average and power. What kind of hitter? Here's the numbers that we were talking about. Good numbers against Loesch.
Kyle ready with the 2-2. Gonzalez had the power surge the first week, actually the first handful of games, 5 homers. That opening week for Los Angeles. Went through a mini slump. By that, I'm talking about a couple of games, and then got hot again. 2-2 pitch.
Yeah, hitting .360, you're not going to go into too much of a slump.
No, it might be a bad game and a half.
Yeah, 5 home runs early, 8 so far this year. Certainly a guy that's good for around 30.
Count is full to Adrian Gonzalez. Dodgers had a 4-hour game yesterday, 13-inning affair. Yasmani Grandal with a walk-off to finally give Mattingly's team the win against Arizona and a sweep of the series. First time, though, that they have traveled outside the Pacific time zone. Again, the 3-2. And Gonzalez draws a walk. The other thing the Dodgers do very well is draw walks. They lead the league in that category.
And that patient team. You got to be patient to be able to get pitches and knock out of the ballpark. They hit homers, but they don't steal much. You don't have to worry too much about these guys trying to take a base.
Which is a departure from the last 2 series the Brewers had. The Reds run a lot. In fact, more than anyone in the National League, and the Cubs are right behind them. Scott Van Slyke, the hitter. He's the son of Andy Van Slyke, playing left field here for the Dodgers. Early lead for LA. Jock Peterson started the game with a home run to right.
Yeah, Yasiel Puig is out with injury, and you bring Van Slyke in. All he's doing is hitting .380. The bench players getting it done.
Yeah, their outfield depth has come in handy. Carl Crawford, an oblique injury on the DL, and as Rock mentioned, Puig out dealing with the hamstring issue. A ball, 2 strikes to Scott Van Slyke. The 1-2 just misses. Career start number 400 for Loesch. Tonight looking for his 2nd win.
They're still trying to find that consistency. Putting pitches on the corner, keeping it down in the strike zone. Just missing the outside corner. When he's going well, he's able to put that right on the edge and get the call. Just a little bit off the edge.
Mentioned his last start against Cincinnati, the home run ball hurt him. To start before here at Miller Park against the Reds, he was terrific. 7 innings, allowed just 3 hits and 2 runs. Payoff pitch coming to Van Slyke. To left field. Chris Davis right there, and the inning is over. Dodgers going to lead off homer from Peterson. Now the Brewers get their first crack at Kershaw. Dodgers the early lead. Now Craig Counsell as the Brewers manager. We're going to watch his team hit for the first time tonight. As we take a look at the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi. Carlos Gomez, Jason Rogers, and Ryan Braun. 1, 2, 3. Aramis Ramirez hits cleanup, followed by Chris Davis and Martin Maldonado. Elian Herrera again the call at second. Hector Gomez will start at short. Kyle Osha on the mound against Clayton Kershaw for LA.
Yeah, 21-3 last year, a 177 earned run average. Clayton Kershaw was named Cy Young and MVP last year in the National League. 1-2 at 373 earned run average. Very unusual earned run average for him, but really a result of one bad start for Kershaw. And you figure that ERA not to stay there too long.
He has not lost at Miller Park. He will face Carlos Gomez to lead off the home half of the first. Gomez, one of the few Brewers hitters who has hit Kershaw well. Trying to extend that here is Gomez getting back into action over the weekend, coming off the disabled list. And when he came in on Saturday, he got to work right away, stealing a couple of bases, and helping the Brewers to wins on Saturday and Sunday after losing 1-0 on Friday afternoon at Wrigley.
Hey, guys starting to show signs of life offensively. They really have, and it all starts with the big boys in the middle of the order. Braun, Ramirez starting to heat up. Good to have Gomez back off the disabled list. He's back in the lineup. You figure Scooter Gennett, he's going to come back tomorrow.
Gomez is swing and a miss. They'll complete the strikeout. Grandal throwing over to first. There's out number 1.
Yeah, one of the big differences between this year and last for the Dodgers is defense. They were next to last a year ago in team defense. They're third this year. Van Slyke, Peterson, and Ethier in the outfield. Uribe, Jimmy Rollins, Howie Kendrick, and Adrian Gonzalez from third to first. And he has Monty Grandal hanging the sign for Kershaw tonight.
So here's Jason Rogers getting the starting call at first against the left-hander Kershaw. Rogers not a ton of at-bats, but it seems he has made the most of the time he has had at the plate. You see 7 for 17, but I venture to guess it was 10 outs. He probably hit the ball hard 6 or 7 times. He just makes good contact.
And he's been staying on the baseball pretty well with the left-hander out there. Adam Lynn sits this one out. And Rogers, who has been swinging a pretty good bat in limited duty, getting a chance.
2 strikes and nothing. You can see if, and we know many of you have seen Kershaw, but Jerry Augustine in Brewers Live pregame talked about the delivery. Not his stuff is difficult enough, but Little herky-jerky motion. Things that can disrupt timing. And Rogers goes down swinging.
Yeah, hides the baseball very well and throws everything for strikes. I mean, fastball, he can get it up to about 95 when he needs to. Good slider. Curveball and a changeup. And there's a breaking pitch that Rogers swings over the top of. Kershaw 5 straight years with 200 or more strikeouts.
And 4 straight years leading the league in ERA. Last year, 1.77. He's been sub-2 each of the last 2 years. Here's Ryan Braun. Showing some power on that just completed road trip. He had 5 hits on the trip. 4 were home runs.
And they come in bunches for the home run hitters. You hope that streak continues.
Curve is chopped foul. Those strikeout totals you mentioned about Kershaw, the 5 straight years of 200 plus, 248 back in 2011, and not far behind a year ago, right. 239.
And leads all the baseball this year.
6 complete games last year. That also led the league. The 0-2 pitch to Braun. The next step with Kershaw is the postseason, where the numbers drop dramatically, or in his case, the ERA rises dramatically. But I guess it depends on how you look at it. He's a big reason why they get to the postseason.
Yeah, there's that 95 on the fastball, and Kershaw thought that was a strike.
Instead, the count is 2-2.
And Fox Tracks never lies. It's off the plate.
So there you have it. Braun strikes out swinging. And Clayton Kershaw strikes out the side. And we are through 1. The Dodgers with the early lead.
Presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book now. Stay your the Brewers trailing 1-0 as we start the second inning. And Craig Counsell beginning his managerial debut. The resume is a long one for him. 16 years as a player, 2-time World Series champion. But the one thing not on his resume is coaching or managerial experience. But Counsell said he feels that this is the place that he has prepared himself to be in. He said he has gained so much knowledge from everyone that he has come across in his baseball career. He said particularly Jim Leyland and Bob Melvin as former managers who were most influential on him. He said Leyland was the guy that had high expectations for you as a player, was hard on you but fair. And Bob Melvin was the one who took him in the back room, so to speak, that's the one he understood all of the decisions that need to be made on a daily basis, managing a team. So he said he's ready to take over. And as for how he was going to manage the nerves tonight, he said, look, tonight's not a normal night. It is a big night for me. Very excited about it. And he said, I hope it doesn't feel normal for a long time.
No, and I think he's ready for this. I think, if anybody could be ready for their first opportunity as a manager, let alone in the big leagues, it would be Counsell. I don't think anybody outside of the uniform, maybe Doug Melvin, Gord Ash, know more about this organization than Craig Counsell over the last couple of years. He's been involved in just about every decision that's been made, every meeting. And I think he's ready for it.
Andre Ethier takes a look at strike 3 called. Close with his 3rd strikeout early on. Yeah, I really liked a lot of things Craig Counsell said today, both at his news conference this morning and his pregame gathering with reporters in the dugout later on this afternoon. But in his news conference, he mentioned, I mean, he is a Brewer. So that means something. That logo, it means something. He embraces this organization. He has a couple of World Series rings elsewhere, but he considers himself first and foremost a Brewer. His father, John, was with the organization for a number of years. It's kind of fun when you see that, when you have that opportunity. And we'll see how this unfolds over time with Craig Counsell, but he's here because he wants to be. And there is a gap shot off the bat of Yasmani Grandal, and the guy who ended the game for the Dodgers yesterday has himself a 1-out double in inning number 2 tonight.
Well, you make mistakes on this group of hitters and you're going to pay. And that pitch up, out over the plate. It was supposed to be down and away. Grandal got a pitch that was down the middle of the plate and rips it into the gap out there in left center. Picked up by Gomez and a 1-out double. I think one of the biggest things that's going to have to happen over time for Counts and the coaching staff. Coaching staff all back. All Ron Renick's coaches back. They're going to continue throughout the season. But that rapport with the coaches, what the coaches feel they can say to Counts and when, and vice versa. I think that's going to take some time to develop. And other than that, I think baseball decisions, just running the game, managing the game, I don't think that's going to be an issue for Craig.
That's where he says he's going to rely a lot on the other gentleman in that picture, Jerry Narron. Going to lean on him considerably, especially early on as he gets his feet wet as being a game manager. Juan Uribe, the veteran, riding a 12-game hitting streak going into tonight's matchup. There's a lot going on here with this Brewer club. And I think all involved were very clear in appreciating the work of Ron Renick, a team who led this organization to the National League Championship Series. Won more games than he lost in his time here. And
yeah.
We need to remember that.
Yeah, he did well.
Yes,
I mean, he brought winning to this organization. 2011, won a division. It comes down to the players performing. I mean, manager can't go up there and hit, can't pitch, can't field. And I guess when you look at it, and with Doug Melvin and Mark Atanasio thinking that the message is not going to be much different. The baseball message to players throughout the season is really not different from organization to organization. How it's delivered, how it's accepted, who's giving it, and what tone. I think it has a lot to do with how it all comes out. Craig Counsell will not be the same guy as Ron Renick.
Well, the one thing with this club now that is been of at least some encouragement, they have played better of late. The veterans are starting to raise their level. Finally got the monkey off their back, getting a series win in Chicago. First series win of the season, and the first since mid-September 2014, as Uribe holds up. And the count is full. The Brewers won the final game of their series in Cincinnati on Wednesday afternoon, and after losing 1-0 on Friday, came back to win games 2 and 3, getting timely hits along the way.
Big hit by Ramirez yesterday late in the ball game. Driving in a couple of runs.
3-2 pitch is popped up. And this will be Aramis Ramirez taking care of it. Out number 2. So with 2 outs, it'll be pitcher versus pitcher. Strikeout and a pop-up in between. A double from Yasmani Grandal, and now here's Clayton Kershaw. Not quite an automatic out, as you can see on those numbers. Seen some pitchers hit in these Brewer games the last few weeks, both Brewer hitters as well as the opposition.
Cincinnati has some pretty good hitting pitchers. Cub pitchers got some hits.
And Jimmy Nelson, getting a
double.
double. 1 of 2 he has in his career. The other is off of the hitter right now, Clayton Kershaw, back last August. First of 4. Back at it tomorrow night and Wednesday night, and then Thursday afternoon the series wrap up before the Cubs come to town. As tonight's game snaps the streak of 22 straight the Brewers have played against Central Division opponents. They'll get back to it this weekend, and then they'll go interleague when the White Sox roll in next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Clayton Kershaw, 3 Cy Young Awards, 2 in a row, was a runner-up in 2012.
And he's only 27.
That's the scary part. Or the even scarier part. There's a roller. Ramirez with a little 360, and he'll throw out Kershaw, and that's it for the Dodgers. They get a double, and that's it. Still 1-0 LA. Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 1-800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Bottom of the second with the Dodgers, the early leader. A Jock Peterson home run to begin the game. Clayton Kershaw struck out the side in the first. Now Ramos Ramirez and company will try to get things rolling. Ramirez, Davis, and Maldonado here in the bottom half of inning number 2. You see those 10 RBIs, 8 have come in this nice stretch for Ramirez, where he's hit in 8 of the last 9 games. Keep him rested, keep him healthy.
Yep, 8 of 9 and 5 in a row. Got a 5-game hitting streak.
Clayton Kershaw ready to go back to work.
Yeah, really no sense in waiting around on Kershaw. You get a pitch you like, you go after it. He's not going to walk you. Deeper you get into the count, and the more you get behind an account, the tougher he becomes, like every pitcher, but particularly against this guy. He doesn't make many mistakes. Although he has given up 4 home runs this year.
Yeah, you mentioned the one tough outing he had, which has bloated the ERA. That was at Arizona. 6 1/3 innings, gave up 6 runs, 5 of which were earned, 10 hits. Ramirez shoots one out of play. His last 2 starts have come against Madison Bumgarner of the Giants, which marked the first time that you had a reigning National League MVP against a reigning World Series MVP. And he tried to hold on the curve, and the answer is no.
Yeah, Ramirez was wondering why Mills did not ask for help at first base. He's not arguing that he went. He's wondering why he didn't ask for help, and Ramirez looks like he went pretty close. I mean, on that angle, I think that first base camera angle would be a little bit more definitive. Here it comes. That could have gone either way, but I think Ramirez upset that Jerry Mills, the home plate umpire, didn't ask for help.
Well, the crew chief just made the call on his own, so 4 up and 4 down via the strikeout here for Kershaw to start the game. Chris Davis.
All the accolades we've been throwing Kershaw's way, well deserved, but the Brewers have done pretty well against him in their career, in his career. 5-4 is Kershaw in 10 starts. That's not too bad. Laying 4 losses on him.
Split decision last year. The Dodgers winning here at Miller Park. But the Brewers taking care of things in LA. Davis with a bouncing ball to short. That's Rollins. 2 men out. You see what he has done here, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, 3 runs allowed in 34 innings.
Last outing here on August 10th, it was 8 innings, gave up just the 1 run, 6 hits. It made a terrific catch. The Brewers were trying to execute a squeeze, and the bunt was popped up, and Kershaw dove, caught the pop, and turned it into a double play, showing his overall athletic ability. As Rock mentioned, he is all of 27 years old. Martin Maldonado had 2 balls, no strikes. He continues to get the work and the bulk of it. Behind the plate as Jonathan Lucroy continues to try to recover from the broken toe. Maldonado in the hole. Rollins with a sliding stop, and what a play. Dug out by Gonzalez. Well, you want to know why they got Jimmy Rollins? That's a big reason right there. A terrific play to end the 2nd inning, as the veteran in his first year with the Dodgers shows why they dealt for him. 1-0 LA after 2. Lead the Brewers. It'll be the top of the order to face Kyle Loesch. And it's Jock Peterson who led off the game with a home run to right. So 8 home runs, leads the league, and he is just one step behind. Loesch starts him with a curve. Jock Peterson, last year at Albuquerque, 30 homers, or 33 homers actually, the first 30-30 player in the Pacific Coast League in 80 years.
Yeah, that's a Albuquerque, good ballpark to hit homers, but that combination of big power and speed, that's rare. A lot of stolen bases and home runs in the minor leagues.
Was called up last September, played in 18 games for the Dodgers, and really was not able to get on track, hit under 200. But they really like this guy, and he has shown them why in this first month. 2-1 pitch coming.
And one of the reasons perhaps that there never has been a 30-30 guy like that, because if you having a year like that, a lot of times you're in the big leagues,
you're
right?
moving on, yes.
I mean, a veteran outfield the Dodgers have had and kept them down there all year, pretty much all year.
Team that made a lot of moves, including moving Matt Kemp on, and opens up opportunities, and players like Jock Peterson taking advantage.
He's probably down in AAA thinking, when are they calling me up? What more do I have to do down here?
I've done all I can in Albuquerque. Thanks.
Right, there's a reason why organizations keep players down in the minor leagues. You'd rather have them down there maybe a week too long than bringing them up too soon.
And it was a ball club last year that won 94 games, and they were in pretty good shape. And there's a bouncing ball. Hector Gomez in the shift, first out of the inning.
Hey, the Brewers' annual 5-county, 5-day celebration continues all week with 50% off tickets for the games against the Dodgers tomorrow through Thursday, as well as Friday night's opener against the Chicago Cubs. For details, visit brewers.com/5-county.
Good to be back home. Brewers splitting their 6-game road trip, and now home for the next 10. Jimmy Rollins, who made a terrific defensive play to end the inning, hits one right back to Loesch, and very quickly there are 2 men out. Little kick save it looked like from Kyle, but able to come up with it and finish the play.
Knocks it down, keeps it close. Bat's done. Shatters right down the middle. That's what happens when you get him off the end of the bat with those cupped bats. Those gets him easily at first base.
Two outs, bases empty for Howie Kendrick. Came over in a trade last December after 9 years with the Angels. And middle infield, a much different look for the Dodgers. One ball, one strike.
Dodgers posting some pretty good batting average. We'll look up on that scoreboard. Each one of these guys come up there. They're swinging the bats pretty well.
Kendrick came in at .292.
Dodgers 4th in the league in batting average at .263. Must be the pitchers. The drag on the batting average, right?
I guess. There's a fly ball back into right field. Ryan Braun near the track, able to run it down, and that will do it for the Dodgers. Retired in order through 2.5. 1-0 Dodgers.
here celebrating the very successful year by the Wisconsin men's basketball team, joined now by head coach Bo Ryan. And coach, an unbelievable season, back-to-back Final Fours, an appearance in the national championship game against Duke. Now that you've had some time in the offseason to process, how do you reflect back on what was an incredible season for your team?
Well, the best way to put it would simply be in terms of the kind of people who took us on this journey, the players. There was a great bunch of guys who, the synergy that was involved with our team, the camaraderie and the relationships that they developed over the years they were here proved to be very, very promising and very fruitful for, the wins and losses. But that's not what we measure the season for. We also measure for all the things, as I mentioned, with family, representing the university, representing the state, representing the Big Ten. So I was really proud of the guys for the way they handled it and the way and the class act that they were.
Frank Kaminsky cleaned house on all of the national awards. What kind of special year did he have for this team?
Well, we always talk about sharing, and I kind of got on Frank a little bit. Frank, let somebody else win something. How about that story? 2 years of averaging. I'm the only guy to hold Frank under 20 points a game by not playing him the first 2 years. But he'll tell you himself he wasn't ready, and now he's developing, and he's going to get even better at the next level. So we're proud of him. I know his teammates are, that they had a chance to share everything with a guy like that, and he is special.
We bring in senior Josh Gosser. Josh, an incredible career for you as well. Have you had time to reflect back on what an incredible run you guys went on as a team?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, a few days after and a few weeks after, it was pretty tough. Still focusing on that game, but just walking around, campus or different cities around the state, you really see how proud people were of our team and what we accomplished. So that helps out a lot, and it's great to have that kind of support because we needed it.
Well, Coach Ryan critiques you guys all the time, so I'm going to let you critique his first pitch. What did you think?
It was better than mine, so I can't critique it too bad. My ball's got a little dirt on it, so that's not good.
All right. Well, thank you.
Never moved his glove.
Yeah.
The catcher never moved the glove.
Yeah. I was trying to make the batter chase, so.
Well, we've borrowed your radio broadcaster, Matt LePay. So do you guys, do you want to critique Matt at all? Because
he's good. LePay's the man, so I can't say anything bad about him, that's for sure.
He has one of the most distinctive voices I think people in Wisconsin over the last 50 to 100 years have ever heard and have ever grown accustomed to. He studies his sports. He has his notes ready. He's always prepared. I've never seen somebody do it the way he does, and I think he represents the profession very, very well.
Well, thank you to both of you for joining us, for representing the state of Wisconsin, and congratulations on an incredible season for Wisconsin men's basketball. That's head coach Bo Ryan, senior Josh Gosser, and Matt, I think they played pretty nice with you.
That was really embarrassing. Yeah, Bo obviously got the check that I sent him already, so that was very nice.
That was an all shucks moment,
wow,
huh?
Tender, not a dry eye in the booth.
That was awesome. Well, you deserve it, partner. Heck of a job.
Yeah, those guys were tremendous. And oh my, Kyle Loesch gets the first hit for the Brewers, and they're going to balk. They thought they had him hung up. Yeah, forget about that. That's a balk. Blake Kershaw didn't think so.
Right, and Paul Emmel, the first base umpire, didn't say he stepped toward first base.
And here comes Don Mattingly. So what was shaping up to be an uneventful inning here for the Brewers after Herrera bounced back to Kershaw. Terrific backhand play to get the out, and then a ground ball to Rollins. Loesch singles, Kershaw balks, and Mattingly is tossed.
Yeah, he got a little bit upset about that ball call. I'm not sure about the importance of the ball call, really, but something that was going on between the two of them during that conversation. Got the backup of Don Mattingly, and as we all know, the umpire always gets the last word.
But Mattingly, in the meantime, is going to fire off a couple of parting verbal shots.
Let's see, does he step toward first base? There's that 45-degree angle that goes toward the line. This is all free arguing now. They can't throw him out again.
That's the first time this year that Manning has gotten the heave-ho.
Well, the 45 goes down there, and pretty close. It's one of those gray areas. Paul Emmler, the first base umpire, right away called the balk. And Los is into second base.
So, a runner in scoring position for Carlos Gomez. As Kershaw bounces one up there on a curve, 1-1 the count.
How about the great defensive plays by the Dodgers? You see Kershaw, the backhand pickup on that ball hit by Herrera. I mean, he just turned his back. He threw his glove out there, got it. Rollins made a great play. And then Kyle Loesch comes up and gets the first hit of the game for Milwaukee.
After all of this, the Brewers can tie this game if Gomez can reach against Kershaw here. Now ball to Uribe at third. And that'll do it for the Brewers. They get their first hit. It comes from Kyle Loesch. For the game, you heard from moments ago from Bo Ryan and Josh Gosser. This is that first pitch that they threw as the basketball team was recognized here tonight at Miller Park. Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Top of the fourth here at Miller Park. Brewers at home for the first of 10 in this homestand. Dodgers the early lead. A Jock Peterson first inning homer. That is your scoring so far. Kyle Loesch retired. The Dodgers in order in the third. He'll begin the fourth by facing Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez walked in the first inning. Fourth in the National League with that .362 batting average. Like mentioned an inning or so ago, the Dodgers fourth in the league team batting average, but they're at the top on base and slugging percentage. This is a team that leads the NL now with 39 homers, and there's Gonzalez taking his second walk. Or I'm sorry, hit him. Got clipped.
Yeah, just got a piece of the jersey. There's a 1-1 pitch. Let's see. Where does it get him?
Yeah, on the jersey.
Yeah, just above the belt.
Here's Scott Van Slyke. He lined to left to win the first inning. Gonzalez a walk in the first, clipped by a pitch here to begin the fourth.
You can see Lowe's really trying to concentrate on keeping those pitches either on the corner or a little bit off. And the reason he's giving up all the home runs this year, 9 of them now, is that getting too much of the plate. When he misses over the plate. Last year he didn't do that. I'm still trying to find that consistency. That one on the corner but up in the zone.
And Slyke now at 371. That's his average. Loesch, his last 2 starts, he's gone 7. And he takes care of Scott Van Slyke. Strikeout number 4 for Kyle Loesch.
Yep, got him with the cutter on the corner. And you can see Loesch just really trying to concentrate on getting those pitches on the edges. This time, Van Slyke tried to pull it.
1 out, 1 on. As Loesch gets ready to face Andre Ethier. His 10th year as a Dodger. That makes him the cagey veteran on this team. Longest tenured player of the organization. Drops a curveball for strike 1.
Pretty deep in the outfield, these Dodgers, don't you think? I mean, when you think about the guys that are hurt, you got Crawford, you got Puig, and you still have guys that you throw out there putting up some pretty good numbers.
Van Slyke and Ethier, and they really like their young player, Jock Peterson.
Yeah, both of them. Van Slyke and Ethier both over 300.
This is popped up. Foul territory, and let's see if there's room. Ramirez unable to come up with it, trying to lean over the railing.
Yeah, he got there, he just missed it. Bit of tough play up against the railing. Right there, overran it a little bit. Right off the fingers of the glove.
So it's 1-2 to Ethier. New life for him. 4 homers, 9 RBIs for Ethier going into this game. Track in the Central, the Cubs and Cardinals getting underway in St. Louis. Cardinals, they're just getting started in that game. Cardinals lead this division by 4.5 games, off to an 18-6 start. They have won 6 in a row. Ethier into left field, and that's going to drop a base hit. And the Dodgers have runners at first and second with 1 out.
Yeah, that's the way things have gone for the Crew so far this year. You catch that foul pop, you got 2 outs, man at first. Ethier gets a second chance. Lines one into left. Would have been a tough play for Ramirez, but one that he would have probably told you should have had. Had a couple of those in yesterday's ball game in the outfield.
They did. Tough play up against the wall. Gomez and then Herrera racing out in a shallow right. Not quite able to make the play, but the Brewers were able to rally and win the game. A 2-out, bases loaded, 2-run single from Ramirez. As Monty Grandal steps in. Part of that Matt Kemp trade. They swapped with the San Diego Padres. Homered 15 times last year. Grandal tore his ACL a couple of years ago, early July, in a home plate collision in a game with the Nationals. Loesch ready with a 1-1. Grandal split his time of the 128 games he played. 67 times he started behind the plate. Played first from time to time for the Padres.
He's just trying to keep his bat in the lineup. The switch hitter, switch hitting catcher.
2 balls, 1 strike. Breaking ball in there.
Backdoored that slider that time. That's not an easy pitch to throw.
Gonzalez, the runner at second. Ethier at first. A 2-2 count to Yasmani Grandal. In the air to center. Back goes Gomez. He is up against the wall. It is off the wall. Here's Gonzalez rounding third. The relay goes through Hector Gomez, and a run will score.
It would have been interesting had Gomez been able to field that baseball. Probably has the best throwing arm of anybody on the club. Gomez got it in quickly. Gonzalez couldn't take off right away. He wasn't sure it was going to be caught or not. Gomez does the right thing. He stops. And if Gomez is able to handle this throw, there might have been a play at home plate.
So the Dodgers now have a 2-0 lead. Runners at the corners for Juan Uribe.
A long single for Grandal.
As long as it gets. 400 feet. Runners were holding because they know how good Gomez is. They had to determine whether he'd be able to run that down. Big cut and a miss.
Yeah, this is a guy that doesn't walk much. Juan Uribe. He can take some hacks with the best of them.
Hit 311 last year, drove in 54 runs. Tapper foul. Brewers just played a Cubs team that's quite young. This is a Dodger team with certainly young talent with the guy on the mound, 27-year-old Kershaw, and Peterson in center, but they've got a lot of experience on this team too. Uribe is 36 years old. Loesch ready with the 2-strike pitch. Part of Uribe's career included being a member of the world champion Chicago White Sox 10 years ago. Hit on the nose, center field. Gomez comes in on the run, makes the catch. Runner tags, throw to the plate, and Maldonado cannot hang on. Ethier is in, and it's 3-0 LA.
I think he tried to airmail it and short hopped. Martin Maldonado. Well, you're best off giving him a nice balance between home plate and the mound. I thought that Gomez was going to be able to get the out here. Ethier, a decent runner. You can see very tough play for Martin Maldonado. That was a tough hop to handle and couldn't do it. Even if he did, where that throw was, he wouldn't have been able to get the out.
So the Dodgers put 2 on the board here in the 4th. Here's Clayton Kershaw.
You're getting to that danger zone now when you're facing Clayton Kershaw. Down 3-0.
A pitcher in the last 2 years with an ERA of under 2. But a little higher than normal at this early stage. 3.73 is his ERA coming into this game. Kershaw grounded to Ramirez at third in the 2nd inning. And it's 1-2 to the Dodgers pitcher.
He doesn't get cheated, does he?
No, he takes good hacks. Loesch ready with a 1-2. Curve misses.
He tried to backdoor that curveball and I guess missed a little bit off the plate.
Just barely. Little tapper, and Loesch flip it over to Rogers, and that'll end the fourth for LA. But the Dodgers pick up a couple of runs through 3.5, 3-0 LA.
People for me were Jim Leland and Bob Melvin. Jim Leland just was hard on you, but fair, and made you understand. And then Bob Melvin kind of let me into the the back room and made me understand what managing was about and the decisions that he was making on a daily basis with the team. While I was playing for him, and so I got an understanding of my first real understanding of what being a manager was from him.
First game as manager for Craig Counsell. It's 3-0 Dodgers, bottom of the fourth inning, and Doug Melvin now joins us in the booth. Doug, first, we appreciate your time. I can only try to imagine being in your shoes here the last 24 hours, but if you could just give us an idea of the process and what led you to decide what you ended up doing with Ron Roenicke and now Craig Counsell getting the opportunity. Just give us a little insight in the thought process that went into it.
Okay, yeah, there's a ground ball.
Yep, ground ball to short that Rollins takes care of.
Yeah, very difficult time. Ron Roenicke brought a lot of wins here to the Brewers, and was very good at managing. He's going to leave here with a record over 500. Getting off to start this year, I never ever thought that we'd be winning 5 games in the month of April. And, I had a lot of confidence that things were going to get turned around. I reached out and we gave Ron the opportunity to come back this year. I think it was the right thing to do. I still believe it was the right thing to do to have him come back. 150 games in first place last year. Mm-hmm. But it got to the point where we just weren't playing good baseball. When I heard this stat, and I don't know, it sticks with me, of winning 2 games in a row only 3 times since September 1st of last year. That's inconsistent baseball. And over our last 100 games, we were 20 games under 500. Now, that's always not the manager's fault. I feel a responsibility to the position, too, to provide the best players I can. And the players should provide the responsibility of doing what they need to do and perform. So, after the Cincinnati series, I contemplated on the off day, thought about it, whether a managerial change would make any sense. I'm not a big believer in interim managers. And I slept on it for a day. I had talked to Mark Attanasio on the Thursday, slept on it for a day on the Friday. And I just felt that I needed to start to move forward and probably make a change. And it happened fairly quickly over the weekend. And I had to look beyond the 3 games. I told the team today, I said, guys, if you had to play, I appreciate how you played against the Cubs. Our 3 young pitchers, I thought, outpitched the Cubs' 3 veteran guys. And we played very good baseball for that series.
Ryan Braun with a ground ball to Rollins, and quickly 2 out here in the 4th.
But I had to look beyond that series. You know, I had things in motion. That's when first time I approached Craig and asked if he was interested, and he was pretty energized. And he saw the club. He's seen the club for the past 3 years, and he's seen the good points. He's seen the performance that hasn't been so good, and I think he was energized at that time. And Ron and I sat last week and talked, and Ron felt he just didn't know what to do. I said I didn't know what to do. You know, we just weren't playing good baseball, and single-digit wins in a month. It's hard to accept it. I told the team, I said, guys, I don't believe you're the worst team in baseball. Today we are, and it's hard for me to think that.
Ramirez with a ground ball to Uribe, and it's a 1-2-3 inning here for the Brewers. Doug, we appreciate it. I know it's a very busy time for you. Best of luck moving forward.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, we're through 4. It's 3-0. The Dodgers lead the Brewers here at Miller Park.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Brewers Community Foundation is excited to feature the BCF Ultimate Auction presented by the 2015 Leadership Council. The auction began on April 28th and goes through May 12th. So during this time, fans can go online to bid on exclusive Brewers-related packages, including the owner's experience, which allows 5 guests to watch a favorite Brewer player and game from Mark and Debbie Adnasio's exclusive front row seats. You can also grab grub with Brian and Bill in the press box, 4 field level tickets, a Miller Park roof tour, pottery with Scooter Jeanette, 3 of your friends, and a Whistling Straits package, to name a few of the 12 unique items. So all of the proceeds from the Ultimate Auction will support BCF in their effort to fund quality nonprofits in the area. So I know we got to up the ante for grab grub with Brian and Bill. And Matt, we're going to throw you into the loop too.
You want to raise dollars, though. You don't want people to run away. So that's grub with Brian and Bill. That's
Sophia
good.
showed up last year for the dinner up in the press box.
That would help. See, that helps raise the
We
dollars.
threw you in there. You didn't know it, and you didn't show up because I don't think anybody told you.
Yeah, I think I did catch a couple of broadcasts. I caught a lot of them, obviously, and even in spring training, I noticed you two were beating me up a little bit. I was watching. I was listening. Yeah.
There's no hiding on TV.
There isn't. Nope. It's the beauty of radio.
Yeah.
We thank Doug Melvin for joining us. A fairly quick inning there in the home half of the fourth. Jock Peterson leading off here in the Dodgers' fifth.
Yeah, the tough decisions that a general manager has to make. You never want to do that. You never want to tell a guy that he's no longer going to manage the ball club, but you have to look what's best for the organization. And Doug's mind, it was time for a change, and it wasn't just what happened this year. He stresses that over and over again. Press conference, before the game today, even up here tonight, saying that the last 100 games. I mean, you just can't have the record that they had. So the change was imminent.
And moving forward in his comments about Counsell, the preparation, how impressed he is with how Craig approaches everything, how he prepared as a player. You're 16 years in the big leagues. You're doing a few things well, and Melvin mentioned how he always thought that Counsell played with a chip on his shoulder. He was good. He's a good, solid player, and member of 2 championships. There's a walk to Jock Peterson here to start the fifth. Which leads us to our Carsoup.com trivia question. Which 5 former Brewers are currently managing in Major League Baseball? How about that? Which 5 former Brewers are currently managing here in the big leagues?
Good one.
Debut as manager for Craig Counsell. Here's Jimmy Rollins. He's turned in a couple of impressive defensive plays here tonight. That's what 4-time Gold Glovers do.
That's how you have really good pitching. You have to not only pitch well, but you have to have the guys behind you in the infield and the outfield, taking away base hits. And that's what the Dodgers have done so far this year. Big departure from what they were last year. They were next to last in errors in the National League.
And much cleaner in that department.
Committed 107 errors a year ago.
This is lifted in foul territory and will carry out a play. You see Loach with that pitch count nearing 100. Neil Cox now getting loose in the Brewers' pen. Dodgers got their leadoff man aboard in the fourth when Adrian Gonzalez was hit by a pitch. It ended up being a 2-run inning for the Dodgers and a leadoff walk to Jock Peterson here in the fifth. And a snap throw down to first. Maldonado's been showing off that arm. Opponents they knew about it before. They're getting a much better look here since Lucroy has been out with the injury.
He's called all but 1 game since Luke went on the DL.
2-1 to Rollins. That's it in the air to center field. Gomez on the run, and at the wall makes the catch. Allowed outs off the bat of Rollins. 1 away.
Hey, this Friday through Sunday, the Brewers host the Cubs in the weekend series that features 50% off tickets for Friday night's opener, a fan flag giveaway on Saturday, and a special Mother's Day bobble hank on Sunday. For tickets, visit Brewers.com today. We've got the old bobble hank up here.
Yeah, we do.
Looking good. Got the pink.
There he is.
And there's the one that is out. Oh, here he is. Let me move him away.
Right there.
There you go. Graphic in a way.
There we go.
There you go. Hank.
That's what he looks like. Fly ball to center. Off the bat of Kendrick. Gomez will squeeze it 2 away. So a leadoff walk, and then Loesch getting a couple of fly balls. One from Rollins, one from Howie Kendrick, and now he'll work against the cleanup hitter, Adrian Gonzalez, who has walked and has been hit by a pitch.
You can see the shift that the Brewers incorporate on Adrian Gonzalez. They'd love to see him bunt, just bunt one down the third baseline. At least they know he's not going to hit it out of the ballpark.
Gonzalez and Todd Frazier lead the National League with 8 home runs.
Ramos Ramirez playing shortstop.
There you see the look defensively here for the Brewers. The 1-0. Loesch has walked a couple. He's hit a batter. Dodgers lead the National League in walks.
And just doesn't want to throw Adrian Gonzalez a strike. Why would you? You got Van Slyke on deck, a right-hander.
And Gonzalez has homered a couple of times in his career off of Loesch. So, yeah, Kyle being very careful. And runners now at first and second with 2 men out. As Loesch will deal with Scott Van Slyke.
And there are 4 hits, 3 walks issued by Kyle Loesch. That was by design. I mean, that was not a case of Loesch not being able to throw strike. He didn't want it that time. Now the key is for Loesch to be able to get Van Slyke.
100 pitches from Loesch. At 116 in his last outing at Cincinnati. That was over 7 innings. And you see that first inning was busy. He gave up a home run to begin the game from Jock Peterson. Recorded a couple of strikeouts and a walk in that first inning. He needed a while to get through it. Van Slyke last year hit nearly 300, playing in 98 games. Went deep 11 times. This will carry out of play. Rogers over there, but a few rows up.
Dad was a pretty good hitter, a left-handed hitter.
Andy Van Slyke.
Andy didn't have the beard, though.
No, he did not. And Scott has one going big time. Andy had a pretty good arm, if I recall correctly, too.
Yeah, good hitter. Good run.
Swing and a miss. Think of him from those Pirates teams, those almost World Series Pirates teams.
Right. Yep.
Still that visual when the Braves scored a couple in the deciding game of the championship series. Andy Van Slyke just sitting down in the outfield while the celebration was going on. The 1-2 pitch to Scott Van Slyke, and that is hit in the air to center field. Carlos Gomez will have room. And that will do it in the 5th for the Dodgers. A couple of walks, but Loesch works out of it. Halfway through, 3-0 LA. Fox Sports Live. We'll get you caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights on tonight's Major League Baseball games. You can see Fox Sports Live tonight, 10 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. We'll see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Well, the Brewers trying to get something generated against Clayton Kershaw. That has been a tall order for teams these last several years. Milwaukee with just one hit, and that was courtesy of a Kyle Loesch 2-out single in the third. There's Chris Davis. He'll be followed by Martin Maldonado and Elian Herrera.
Always an opportunity to see a no-hitter with Kershaw out on the mound. He got one last year.
And Davis, broken bat, fly ball to left. And Van Slyke will take it. Out number 1.
Well, that brings us to tonight's Tyrant the Game winner. It's Crowbar and Grill in Brule, Wisconsin. That's in the northwest section of the state up by Superior. I'm sure you've been up there before.
Way up there, yeah.
Yeah, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. It's offered courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. I like that, Crowbar and Grill.
Way up north. Yeah, that no-hitter Rock was talking about, that was June 18th last year against the Rockies. He struck out 15 and needed all of 107 pitches. They've had a few through the years throwing no-nos.
Yeah, Dodgers, yeah.
15 strikeouts, the most thrown in a no-hitter for that franchise. Martin Maldonado.
They've had some good pitching through the years.
Had a couple.
Yeah, not bad. Koufax, Drysdale, Don Sutton.
Hershiser,
right. It's a good ballpark to pitch in, but still you have to make your pitches. These guys are pretty good.
Kershaw breaks off a curve to get ahead in the count, 1-2. Maldonado robbed his last trip. Terrific play in the hole at short by Rollins. Taking away a base hit. Two balls, two strikes.
And Kershaw has 4 strikeouts, all coming in the first 4 hitters he's faced. Hadn't had one since. Speaking of strikeouts.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of ground balls before Davis skied to left. 3-2 pitch. And there's strikeout number 5.
Spoke too soon. That was ball 4. Hadn't had too many 3-2 counts today either. Fastball up. Maldonado can't hold up.
So tempting, right?
Yeah, you can see it so well, close to the eyes, but so difficult to hit.
2 outs with the bases empty. Elian Herrera. He too may very well have had a hit taken away, and it was by Kershaw. Comebacker, and it was a backhand stab by Kershaw. To field it and able to throw him out. A ball, 2 strikes. Well, the bats are alive in St. Louis. They are in the bottom of the first. And it's 5-4 Cubs. There's Travis Wood and Carlos Martinez, the matchup.
Mark Reynolds with a grand slam.
Reds and Pirates have the night off as we look around the Central Division. Well, the Brewers did a good job in that series of keeping the Cubs bats quiet. Scored a single run on Friday. That was enough, but Very good pitching from the Brewers, starting and in the bullpen. The Brewers starters on a nice little run, 8 quality starts out of their last 11. And the bullpen's been doing a nice job as well. Two-two pitch to Herrera. Curve swung on and missed. So Kershaw punches out a couple in the 5th, and we are through 5, 3-0 the Dodgers. Lead the Brewers 3-0. A CarSoup.com trivia question. Pretty good one. Which 5 former Brewers are currently managing in Major League Baseball?
There's a couple of easy ones. The Terry Francona will get some guys. And Matheny, Yost, Molitor, Craig Counsell. Terry Francona was a Brewer 1 year.
Yeah, he was. Ended his playing career here. Looking at it right now in 1989, and just three games in 90, and then that was it for his playing career. Craig Counsell joining that list. First game as a Brewers manager. New pitcher now for the Crew as Neil Kotz gets some work.
Yeah, it's been a week for Kotz. He last pitched on Monday at Cincinnati. A scoreless inning in an inning and 2/3.
Andre Ethier took a called 3rd strike in the 2nd, singled to left in the 4th, and eventually scored. Dodgers with a run in the 1st and 2 more in the 4th. Kyle Lohse goes 5, gives up the 3 runs, including the 1 homer. No balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers have gotten their leadoff man on in 3 of the first 5 innings, including the last 2. Todd's trying to slow that down. Clayton Kershaw on his game tonight.
Yeah, it's difficult enough to get 3 runs off of Kershaw, let alone if Brewers or the Dodgers add on. Got to hold him down and hope that Kershaw makes some mistakes.
There's a ground ball to Ramirez at 3rd. And out number 1.
Hey, this Mother's Day, treat them on to a special day at the ballpark. The Brewers host the Cubs this Sunday, and all fans in attendance will get a special Mother's Day bobble hank, courtesy of Pick and Save. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com for tickets. There he is. Can't get enough of Hank, can you?
Looking good. No, of course not.
It's a good-looking bobblehead. Really is.
That bobble Hank on Sunday. Here's Yasmani Grandal.
They have the bobblehead thing at Wisconsin?
You know what? I was thinking about that. I don't think so.
No?
It's been rare. I'm thinking there's probably been a Bo or a Barry bobblehead at some point. I don't have one, though.
No?
No, it was not included in that.
Of course, it'd be tough to give them away at Camp Randall, right? We need 100,000 of them.
Well, you need 80,000. Basketball team here. Most of them honored today before the game. And there's a base hit for Grandal. That is his 3rd hit of the night.
He's starting to get that average up there. 3 hits this time of year will do it.
Hit number 5 for the Dodgers, and here's Juan Uribe. Sac fly brought home Ethier in the 4th.
A sacrifice line drive bullet to Carlos Gomez, who I thought had a chance to get the out at home plate. Throw just a little bit off the mark.
Yeah, that looked. That's the kind of play that's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
a good running start, but it's not quite connecting on the throw to the plate with Maldonado.
Throw off the line, and Maldonado had a tough hop to deal with.
It's of course just the 3rd game back for Gomez, and it sounded like a broken bat. Bloop into center field, just beyond the reach of Elian Herrera. The Dodgers have runners at 1st and 2nd.
Tough play for Herrera going back. Never took his eye off the baseball and missed it by a couple of feet. Very similar to the attempt that he made yesterday in Chicago. But that one in Chicago was more toward right field.
Yeah, it would have been a terrific catch in both instances. Not quite able to haul it in. So now Clayton Kershaw in a bunting situation with runners at 1st and 2nd. A hit for Uribe, by the way, extends his hitting streak to 13. You got a big stage of this game right now. Tough enough, down 3 to the Dodgers. And the Brewers, you got to keep that deficit at 3.
Yeah, you really can't give up any more runs. If you have any shot at getting this one.
Kershaw trying to execute a sacrifice bunt for what would be the first time this year. Grandal at 2nd, Uribe at 1st. A 1-1 count. And Craig Counsell asked about first couple games as manager. You have Kershaw and you have Greinke, and he said, "Bring it, let's do it." It's the big leagues.
That's what you expect, right? Go after the best.
Once threw it, and Maldonado had an idea to gun one down to 2nd, but thinks otherwise. Well, Counsell would know the challenges day in and day out in Major League Baseball. He said, who knows, maybe it'll be a great story one day, how things begin. Brewers have work to do tonight. But Counsell not a guy who would strike you as someone who would shy away from stiff competition.
Now it's a long-term deal with Counsell, 3 years, including this year.
Just missed. Yeah, Doug Melvin saying they really don't like the concept of interim managers.
Well, it's been a tight zone tonight for both teams. Jerry Mills just doesn't like calling those strikes.
2-2 to Clayton Kershaw. A good battle going on. Neil Kotz on in relief of Kyle Loesch. Gave up the 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 3, struck out 4 in 5 innings.
And you got to figure with Counsell, as much as he was close to the ball club, it's a lot different being in that clubhouse every day, being on the buses on the road, being in uniform. The process of evaluation right now, trying to figure out who's in, who's not.
And Kershaw trying to bunt, fouls it off, and that will be strike 3. Out number 2 here in the 6th. Yeah, Counsell, Craig was saying this morning in the news conference that it was something that talked about with the family, but this is such a great opportunity, as he said. It's limited, obviously, in the big leagues, but this is the one. If he's going to be a manager, this is really where he'd like to do it. And the opportunity is there, and he is jumping on that chance with a 3-year deal. Using some of that baseball savvy. I thought he had a lot of interesting comments, but before the game, in meeting with reporters, he says of all the things that he enjoys about the game, and this is a guy with 2 World Series championships, so just the thought of helping someone, so that's what really makes you feel good, and that's what he's going to try to do as the manager of this ball club. Jock Peterson homer to begin the game. A ground ball to short and walked in the 5th. Dodgers with a threat via a couple of singles here in the inning. One ball, 1 strike. First time in a week that Neil Kotz has been in a game. Trying to hold this deficit at 3. Peterson with that first inning homer gives him 7 on the year and gives the Dodgers 39 as a team. That is the most in the National League.
Yeah, most of the road trip you saw Jeremy Jeffress, Jonathan Broxton, Will Smith. And because of that, Neil Kotz has been out a week, and I just hope he don't have too many cobwebs to dust off.
Big at bat here, and he's ahead 1-2 on Peterson. Haley, back of that road trip, and the bullpen in general was good, but boy, Will Smith, a couple of huge punch outs, both against the Reds and the Cubs.
Yeah, in Brewers victories.
Yes.
Got Joey Votto, Anthony Rizzo in key spots.
2-2. And now the count runs full on the Dodgers center fielder. One thing Peterson will do is strike out. Came in with 29 strikeouts and 70 at bats. Has not fanned tonight. You're taking out any way you can get it, but a strikeout, that's all good. Here's Neil Kotz with the 3-2. Got him swinging.
That's a way to put in his head.
Anything to help the ball club.
Good job.
3-0 Dodgers. Columbia St. Mary's. Clayton Kershaw, unfortunately, so far putting on a show for the Dodgers. Through 5 innings, he has struck out 6, including the first 4 Brewers he faced.
He faced 1 over the minimum, and had Kyle Oates not been able to pick up that base hit with 2 outs in the 3rd inning, this game would be a lot different, looking a lot different. Would have had a no-hitter, perfect game. He's been outstanding so far.
Yes, he has. Kyle Loesch able to deliver a 2-out single in the 3rd inning. And actually advanced to second on a balk, which resulted in Don Mattingly contesting and was thrown out. First time this year, and the 16th in his career. But that's the only threat, or anything resembling a threat, that the Brewers have had. Hector Gomez down the line, and that is a fair ball. That'll go to the corner. Ethier runs it down. Gomez digging around second, and Hector Gomez into 3rd.
Well, you like the aggressiveness of Hector Gomez. I mean, he only knows one speed up there at the plate. He's going to give you a pretty good hack. There's a mistake finally from Kershaw. Left that one out over the plate. Sliced it down that right field line with his speed, able to get into 3rd base easily. And you see Ethier had a long way to go, got caught up in the padding, and Hector slides in with a triple.
First of his career, as you see, and a great way to start the 6th here for Milwaukee. And now Kershaw will deal with a pinch hitter as Gerardo Parra, who has shined in that role the last couple of times out. Doubled as a pinch hitter twice in Chicago. And that's well hit. Center field. Back goes Jock Peterson. It's off the wall. Hector Gomez will score. Parra around second. On his way to 3rd. Back-to-back triples.
How about that? Lefty versus lefty. First pitch. Boy, Gerardo Parra red hot right now. The only reason he's not starting because Kershaw on the mound. Another mistake right down the middle. Parra didn't waste it. Bangs off the top of that pad, and the Brewers have something cooking here in the 6th inning. And the top of the order coming up.
Parra, probably not a long list, but he has hit Kershaw well when he's faced him. Now 10 for 27 in his career against the Cy Young and MVP. Here's Gomez. Brewers get on the board here in inning number 6. Gomez shoots one to Uribe. Parra heads for home, and he is out easily.
Yeah. Hey, you don't want to do that. You don't want to take off with nobody out. That's a mistake you can't make against a guy like Kershaw. Well, the infield back. That's a one-hop bullet to Uribe, and Gerardo Parra an easy out at home plate. You can't let that happen.
And he knew it.
Never, ever make the first out at home plate.
Knew right away, made a mistake. At the plate, presented by Wendy's, Jason Rogers.
On a ball like that, you just stay put. Because if it gets into the outfield, you're going to score easily anyway.
Kershaw's going to check Gomez, who in his first game back on Saturday, first game back coming off the disabled list, stole 2 bases. At the second, right away, broke for 3rd and got there. Well, the Brewers get back-to-back triples in the inning, but Parra cut down at the plate. Gomez the runner at first.
Yeah, Kershaw tough to run on. He's got a good move. We've already seen the balk move. And he gives you that slide step to home plate. Gets rid of it very quickly.
Heads up. Rogers looking for his first hit. We talked about the kind of contact he's been making when given the opportunity.
Imagine he hasn't hit second very often.
I would imagine you are right.
He's a big guy, a cleanup hitter, middle of the order RBI guy, and got him sandwiched in between Carlos Gomez and Ryan Braun.
And there's Braun on deck. Kershaw getting ready for the 1-1. And Gomez again gets checked. For the record, against Kershaw, attempted base stealers have been caught 3 times in 6 attempts.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yes, it is.
50%.
Rondal, throwing him out, has tossed out 3 in 13 tries.
And again, that's what makes him so good. I mean, he understands the value of holding runners. I mean, you figure, your approach against a guy like Kershaw, you have to take advantage of the mistakes that he makes. You got to put the pressure on him, steal bases, but it doesn't allow you to steal. He doesn't give up many homers. You can't steal on him, and he doesn't walk anybody.
Get the impression Gomez is itching to run too. A ball, 2 strikes to Rogers, and that is strike 3. Two men out here in the 6th. You see with the 7 strikeouts, his pitch count still in great shape. Here's Ryan Braun. Power is returning here for Braun. 0 for 2 tonight. But went deep 4 times on the road trip.
I got to get that average up down to 224.
Good cut at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
And again, another mistake by Kershaw. Brewers have taken advantage of a couple of the mistakes. Hector Gomez and Gerardo Parra. That was 1-2 to Braun, and he fouled it back.
Back-to-back triples to start the inning. Parra coming through as a pinch hitter, but then a mistake on the bases. Going out at the plate. Another throw to first. That gets away from Gonzalez. And now Gomez will move up a bag.
Yep, the step-off move this time a little bit too quick. And really no chance for Gonzalez. That ball went right underneath of Carlos, and he gets into second base. And now base hit will get the Brewers to within 1.
Air charge to Kershaw. RBI opportunity for Braun. A strikeout and a ground ball to short for Ryan so far tonight. He's taken Kershaw deep once in his career. Here's the 1-strike pitch. Fastball away. Well, Brewers finally getting a couple of hits here in the inning. But prior to the 6th, only Kyle Loesch was able to get a hit off of Kershaw. Bounces up there. Tough task against this guy.
Yeah. Yep, bottom of the order, getting all the hits tonight.
Top of the order had some productive at-bats in Chicago. They're facing the best in the business in Clayton Kershaw. Here comes the 2-1. Another good rip.
Yeah, 65 pitches for Kershaw. That's because in the middle part of the ball game, got a lot of ground ball outs early in the count.
Struck out the first 4 he faced tonight. Fanned a couple in the 5th. A moment ago, caught Rogers looking. 2-2 now to Ryan Braun. Since he debuted in 08, Kershaw has been the best around in ERA. Opponents have hit all of .210 against him. The Brewers trying to break through here a little bit. They've scored a run, threatening to get another. Braun's average still at .224. Into the 4 homers. He had 5 hits on the trip. He'll take a single here if they can get it, but instead it's strike 3 swinging, and they'll complete the strikeout. And Kershaw gets back-to-back strikeouts here to end the 6th. Brewers get on the board, still down 2. Here at Miller Park. Hey, make sure you're at Miller Park for Country Night on Friday, May 29th. The Brewers will square off against the Diamondbacks. Then after the game, Joe Nichols will take the stage to perform a free full-length concert. To reserve your spot, visit Brewers.com today. Big month of May here ahead at Miller Park. The start of this 10-game homestand here tonight. Third pitcher on the mound here for the Brewers tonight is Michael Blazek. Will get the call.
Yeah, Blazek's been outstanding so far this year. Ron Renneke was using him in some pretty heavy-duty situations. And right now, a 3-1 deficit. And Craig Counsell, again, is going to be putting him in some primetime innings.
Well, the Brewers had something going in that 6th inning. Back-to-back triples to start things. And then Gerardo Parra at third, trying to come home on a sharply hit grounder to the third baseman, Juan Uribe, who easily threw him out at the plate. And then the momentum stopped. On the plus side for Parra, he continues to excel coming off the bench here these last few games. And that triple that he had brought in Hector Gomez, who led off the inning with a triple. Rollins, Kendrick, and Gonzalez 2, 3, and 4 for the Dodgers. And he'll lift one into center field. Routine for Carlos Gomez. Out number 1. comes Howie Kendrick. Kendrick tonight, a couple of fly balls, and he struck out in the first inning.
Yeah, that breaking ball has been a good pitch for him. Talking about Blazek, that slider, the fastball's got some good movement on it. He's been throwing well. It's been a while for him, though. Blazek last pitched on Tuesday against the Reds.
Nothing in 2 to Howie Kendrick. Mentioned the Cubs, who the Brewers just faced, and we'll see again this weekend. An infield made up of the 25 and under club, 25 years old and under. The Dodgers, it's 30 and over. Kendrick tried to check, no dice. 2 men out here in the 7th.
Yeah, throwing the baseball with a lot of confidence. Somewhat of a surprise making the team out of spring training. Nobody really talking much about Blazek, but boy, he put together some good outings in Arizona. Made a couple of starts. And here he is throwing the baseball well.
Yeah, he is, and continuing in that fashion here tonight through the first 2. Gets Rollins on a fly to center and strikes out Howie Kendrick. And now here's Adrian Gonzalez. To that 30 and older club. He's 32. Gonzalez, 116 runs batted in last year. That was the best in the big leagues. Multiple years of triple-digit RBIs at 100 back in, well, 2 years ago. 4-time All-Star. Drove in 119 back in 2008 with the Padres. A 1-1 pitch.
Yeah, one of a handful of players who have 100 RBIs for 3 different teams.
On that very short list.
Ramos Ramirez on that list.
Yeah. Padres, the Red Sox. The year he was there. The full year. At 117 with the Red Sox back in 2011. So they followed that up with 86 more in 2012. And they'll say he held up. Andy Fletcher, the third base umpire. 3-2 the count. He's walked twice, been hit by a pitch. Blazek ready with the payoff. Slapped foul at first. Brewers will have the middle of the order coming up at the bottom of the 7th inning. Dodgers with a run in the first, 2 more in the 4th. Good work by Neil Kotz in the 6th, and Blazek trying to finish off the 7th. 3-2 pitch. And for the 3rd time tonight, Gonzalez is walked.
Yeah, pretty good pitch by Blazek right there. Breaking ball just missed the inside corner. That one had Gonzalez completely fooled.
He's a 2-out base runner for the Dodgers, and now Scott Van Slyke steps back in. Line to left, struck out, and hit a fly ball to center. And there's a bouncing ball to Ramirez with the force, and that'll do it for the Dodgers in the 7th. Time for the Brewers to get going. It's 3-1 LA. as Aramis Ramirez gets set to lead things off. And here's what he did yesterday. It was a big day as we look at the Powerball home run count. This was how his day started at the plate, launching one into the empty bleachers and left. There's your Powerball home run leaderboard. Ramirez in the mix with that third long ball of the year. Ryan Braun at the top. Adam Lind with 4. See if Aramis could catch him here to start the home half of the 7th.
Not a bad way to come back after missing 2 games with a hamstring. First pitch he saw.
It was interesting in the 2 games there. Not going to argue with the result at all. The Brewers did put runs on the board. That wind was really kicking out towards center, and we thought we might see a couple of slugfests, but that was not the case. Good pitching, and really good pitching from the Brewers.
Man, Brewers lost the first game of that series 1-0. So yeah, you never know what you're going to get out of Wrigley Field.
Mike Fiers doing good work, and Jimmy Nelson yesterday. There's a ground ball to Rollins. 1 out. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with AYSO, the world's largest soccer club. Go to ayso.org/play to find your region and sign up for your fall team today. Chris Davis. Ground ball to short and a fly to left. Brewers with just 3 hits here so far off Clayton Kershaw. A single from Loesch in the 3rd and back-to-back triples in the 6th from Hector Gomez and Gerardo Parra.
Yeah, top of the Brewers batting order has not been able to reach base.
Yeah, the 8-9 spots. Only part of the order to get hits off of Kershaw. As we're now in the 7th inning and 1 out. Big old curve missed.
Kershaw gets mad at himself. It's about the 4th time we've seen him do that tonight. Wasn't able to throw the curveball that he wanted, and not afraid to show a little emotion out there in the mound. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, he controls it well as Davis with a fly ball to left. Lots of room for Van Slyke. 2 outs. Well, Martin Maldonado. Kershaw has struck out 8 tonight. Maldonado, one of the victims in the 5th inning. Kershaw coming into this game, and Miller Park has not lost. 4-0 with an ERA of .87. But the career record 5-4.
Right.
Brewers have had some good fortune against him out of Dodger Stadium. Broken bat, Uribe. And the Brewers are retired in order in the 7th. Through 7 at Miller Park, 3-1 the Dodgers. Hotel and Casino, 3-1 LA leading the Brewers. We move to the top of the 8th inning. Michael Blazek back out there for the Crew, his second inning of work. Gave up a walk in the 7th. Able to take care of Rollins on a fly ball. Kendrick going to strike out, and Scott Van Slyke bounced into a force. Andre Ethier, Yasmani Grandal, and Juan Uribe. 6, 7, and 8 in the Dodgers order. Ethier with a single in the 4th inning, singled to left, came around and scored. Turned out to be a 2-run inning for the Dodgers. First pitch swing and a liner. Oh, my. Nice work by the ball boy.
Saved some fans right there.
Yes, he did. Yeah, you can smile.
At the tip of the hat. It's that easy. Look at this. That would have hurt somebody. Well done.
Yeah, there were some fans ducking for cover. Tip your cap. You should. You have those down there who know what they're doing. Big grab by the young man.
Yeah.
Ethier with a very healthy .322 batting average. Hit .249 a year ago. Career lows for him at 4 homers, 42 RBIs. Been an all-star a couple times. Full count now. Kyle Lowe started. He went 5. Gave up the 3 runs the Dodgers have. Neil Kotz took care of business in the 6th. Now Blazek out for his second inning.
Got a lot of confidence in that breaking pitch. Does Michael Blazek. That was a curveball that time on a full count. Just missed off the inside corner on Gonzalez on the full count with a breaking pitch.
And the payoff. There's again strike 3 called.
Now you know it's a strike, but it's going to get rung up tonight. Ethier knew it. Doubled up on the curveball and got him on the second one.
Every weekday, gear up for the racing season with NASCAR Race Hub. With the best coverage, biggest names, the most access. It's the daily show of record for NASCAR Nation. Catch NASCAR Race Hub weeknight 6 p.m. Eastern only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Yasmani Grandal, 3 for 3 here tonight. And he likes Brewers pitching. The last 3 games against the Crew, he has gone 7 for 11. Grandal has upped his average to .266. It has bounced 36 points here tonight.
Yep, he's only got 76 plate appearances, so yeah. Until you get about 125 at bats, the batting average will fluctuate quite a bit.
And you go through, get well into that second month of the season.
Starts leveling off a bit. Tough to get it to go up real fast, but it goes down very fast.
It does. It's like relief pitchers over the course of a season. I mean, even those who have 40, 50, 60 appearances, that ERA could blow up a couple of bad outings, and there is a real good-looking play back up the middle and sharply hit. Blazek makes it look easy.
Just drop the glove on it, and look what I found. Well done. A little flip out of the glove and a toss over to first. Had Blazek not got it, there was a man right behind him at second base that would have had it. That would have been Hector Gomez.
Yep. Blazek takes care of it himself as they get Grandal for the first time tonight. Here's Juan Uribe. Driven in one of the 3 runs. sacrifice fly that was a liner to center in the 4th. Single to center his last trip in the 6th. Cubs lead the Cardinals. Are in the top of the 4th in St. Louis, 6-4. A lot of offense early in that game. Uribe with that single in the 6th now has a 13-game hitting streak.
Looks like they're working around him to get the Kershaw here.
3-0 the count.
Nothing even close. Well, pitch number 2 pretty close.
Look at Kershaw, who has allowed just 3 hits so far tonight. And Uribe draws a walk. That is the 5th walk given up by Brewers pitching, the 2nd from Blazek.
And only the 4th time Uribe has walked this year. That's a tough guy to walk.
Yeah, for a team that takes a lot of them. Uribe not so much. Here's Kershaw. Showing bunt, down a strike. Kershaw attempted a sacrifice bunt, was unsuccessful in the 6th inning. But the only thing he hasn't done right so far. Zach Greinke on the mound tomorrow. They made a couple of roster moves. They originally had Scott Baker scheduled to go on Thursday afternoon, but he has been designated for assignment. They've made a couple of moves, a couple of deals involving minor leaguers and moving guys around on the disabled list. Mattingly telling reporters before the game he knows who his starter will be, but doesn't want to share it quite yet.
Right. Doesn't have to.
But he'll go tomorrow, Zach Greinke.
Greinke, he can swing the bat a little bit.
We talked about that with pitchers who can do that and can handle that. Seen a few of them lately. Uribe, the runner at first, drawing a 2-out walk. Brewers will have the bottom of the order coming up in the bottom half of this inning, and that's been the part of the order that has been productive so far. Not getting cheated, Kershaw. Count evens 2-2.
Yeah, one of Blazek's best fastballs tonight.
The 2-2 pitch. Inning over. Blazek strikes out 2 in the inning and 3 over the last 2. Bottom of the 8th, 3-1 Dodgers.
UW students in hand because we've got the Badger basketball team here as well. They were on it before today's game. And, of course, big day for Craig Counsell. Unfortunately, his debut goes up against Clayton Kershaw. 8 strikeouts, 3 hits. The Brewers were able to get a couple of triples, though, against him.
Pretty much in command. That's one thing Clayton Kershaw can do. He can really throw the ball over the plate with all his stuff. The one thing we got to see, the late part of the order, we have Hector Gomez taking a pitch on the outer part of the plate, driving to right field. The only run the Brewers have scored tonight.
And unfortunately, some base running error took the Brewers out of an inning that could have been big. That is for sure. Carr ends up getting out at the plate shortly thereafter. So it's a 3-1 ball game right now. We got Brewers Live post game on the way. We'll hear from the new manager again, Craig Counsell, on his first day and see if the Brewers can rally against last year's Cy guy.
All right, Craig, Augie, thank you very much. Clayton Kershaw facing Elian Herrera. Herrera had a hit taken away and a nice backhand stab by Kershaw. A hard bouncer that the Dodgers pitcher was able to field. Yesterday they had a big play at the plate. J.P. Howell, where the Diamondbacks had a runner at third in extra innings. A pitch that bounced up there, got away from Grandal, ran it down, and flipped to Howell covering the plate. And like a no-look tag he applied to get the runner and keep the game scoreless until Grandal won it with the homer in the 13th.
Yeah, doing the little things the Dodgers are to win games, things like that. And the Brewers have had a difficult time in coming up with the big plays.
Kershaw has yet to walk a hitter. 3-1 the count on Elian Herrera. Back up the middle, no backhand stop this time, but Kendrick is there, 1 out. Let's take a look at what's on tap, presented by Miller Lite. Zach Greinke off to a terrific start for the Dodgers, as you can see, against Matt Garza for the Crew. He's pitching a little better of late himself, and we'll get things started tomorrow, 6:30, right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Man, everybody knows how well Zach Greinke has pitched here at Miller Park.
Garza getting a win in his last start. As Greinke has put up, I want to say off the top of my head, 12-3 here in this yard. There's Hector Gomez, a fly ball hit back into deep left field. Van Slyke up against the wall. It's gone. And it's a 1-run game at Miller Park.
They just love that kid's aggressiveness up at the plate. He doesn't care who's out there. He's going to take himself a nice hack. And here it is. Mentioned that Kershaw likes to go inside with a fastball, and Hector Gomez waiting for it, knocks it out of here. That's a nice short stroke into the Brewers bullpen. Now we got ourselves a game.
Yes, we do, and what a time for your first career home run. So game on. Adam Lind now to pinch hit.
And the only right-handed batter on the bench for the Brewers is Gene Segura, who the Brewers don't want to use tonight.
Yes, Segura got hit on the helmet yesterday trying to bunt. It was Pedro Strop, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that got him. And for a moment, it looked like Segura was going to be able to continue, but took himself out. Continue to evaluate him, and see, he is in uniform, but it went from serious fear of serious injury to thinking he might be able to continue in the ball game.
Yeah, good thing that he didn't.
Yes. By the way, one of the Chicago reporters writing that Strop actually contacted Segura after the game and make sure he was okay. Everybody was shaken. Miguel Montero right away, the catcher, was motioning for the athletic trainers to get out onto the field right away.
It hit him right on the M on the helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, dead solid right in the middle of the helmet. at 95 miles an hour. And I tell you, these new helmets that baseball has incorporated really saved Segura on that play.
That was a scary moment, to say the least. 2-2 to Adam Lind. By the way, to finish the story on Greinke, you were talking about how good he is here. He's 15-2 at Miller Park. So they can hang the third on him tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, he's due for a couple of losses, right?
Yes, he is. Full count to Adam Lind. Carry out of play. Chris Hatcher up in the bullpen for the Dodgers. LA went through 7 relievers yesterday in the 13-inning game against Arizona. Hatcher was not one of them. Normal closer Kenley Jansen still on the mend. A foot injury. Full count to Adam Lind. Hector Gomez with his first career homer has pulled the home team within a run. Lynn hanging in there.
Yeah, that was a good pitch by Kershaw away from Lynn. He's staying right on it.
Pitch number 9 coming up in this at bat. Carlos Gomez waiting on deck. Here's the 3-2. There's a shot headed to the gap, right center field. That'll go to the wall. Lind on his way to second, and there is where the tying run stands.
Yeah, pretty good job by a couple of left-handed pinch hitters tonight, huh?
Absolutely.
Gerardo Parra, now Adam Lind on a full count. About the 4th full count that he saw. This one he rattles off the wall out there in right center. Fastball by Kershaw, and good extension by Lind, stayed right on it. And there's your tying run out there at second base.
So a conference at the mound, a pitching change coming up as the Brewers come to life here against Clayton Kershaw. They've made it a 1-run game. The tying run at second as we continue at Miller Park. by touching him up in their Jimmy John delivery of the game. This is what we mean by touching him up. Hector Gomez, his first career home run, and it comes against Kershaw, and then Adam Lind pitch hitting doubles to right center. And with one out, the Brewers down one, have the tying run at second. Take a look at the bottom of the order here tonight.
Yeah, not bad work, right? 5 for 6. Now it's time at the top of the order to get in on the hit parade. Well, you got the tying run at second base with only one out as Chris Hatcher continues. You can see his numbers. Earned run average near 7 in appearance number 13. A hard thrower that strikes out a ton of batters. 15 punch outs in a little over 9 innings of work.
The Dodger bullpen has worked 26 consecutive scoreless innings, including 7 yesterday in the 13-inning game with the Diamondbacks. We'll see what Gomez has done tonight. Base hit here could tie the game with Adam Lind, the runner at second.
And mid-90s fastball, low to mid-90s, and a slider for Hatcher.
Here comes the 0-1. There's a smash, left center field. This game is going to be tied. Gomez to second. 3-3 the score. That'll be charged to Kershaw. 3 runs tonight in 7 1/3.
There's the slider, and watch Gomez wait back on it. He kind of hung it on the inner half of the plate, and Gomez hammers it into the gap. Adam Lind scores a tying run, and great speed out at second base, representing the go-ahead run. There you go, top of the order, getting it going.
And Gomez fired up after that run-scoring double. Here's Jason Rogers, hitless in 3 trips. Well, the Brewers have done something that's very hard to do, spotting Clayton Kershaw a 3-run lead, but Milwaukee battles back, a run in the 6th, 2 more in the 8th, and the Brewers are still going.
Yeah, great job by Los to minimize the damage early, and the Brewers bullpen getting it done, giving the offense a chance to get going.
That was Kershaw's 3rd attempt at career win number 100. He'll have to try another day.
I don't think he's ever squandered many 3-run leads.
Can't imagine. Rogers, a bouncing ball. That's Rollins charging. 2 men out with Gomez to third. Big opportunity coming up for Ryan Braun. That's why you come to the ballpark, for moments like this.
Well, the Dodgers have first base open. Been a tough night at the office for Brony, a couple of strikeouts. He's got Ramirez on deck, has been swinging it pretty well. Be alive for the wild pitch. Great speed at third base.
Let's see if Braun can turn that into 3 for 7. Those numbers with runners in scoring position. 2 for 6 at the moment. Braun takes a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and he didn't like it. Brewers have tied this game in the 8th. Now try to take the lead, but Braun is down 0-2.
Yeah, pretty good fastball. 97 that time. Back-to-back 97s for Hatcher.
Former Marlin, and at one time was a catcher in the minor leagues. Now bringing upper 90s fastballs to Ryan Braun. Here comes the 0-2.
Boy, that's a tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. Just a little bit off the corner.
Rondal will talk to his reliever Hatcher, who has a couple of saves this year.
Yeah, it's been all fastballs to Ryan Braun here. And does he dare throw the slider? That's the pitch that Gomez hit into the gap in left center.
A ball, 2 strikes. With Gomez off the bag at third. Here it comes. Still bringing the heat. Braun facing Hatcher, part of that big trade, that 7-player trade with the Marlins that involved D. Gordon back in December. Dan Herron also involved. The Brewers trying to get the lead at his expense in the 8th inning. Broken bat, roller, Uribe charges, throws to first, not in time. Braun legs it out. Gomez scores. Brewers take the lead.
Well, you figure the Dodgers might want to take another look at that one. I'll tell you, Ryan Braun running as hard as he could. That was a pretty good play by Uribe to make it close. A fastball eats him up. The bat blows up, and Ryan realizes I might have a chance to beat this out. This will be a good look at it right here, and boy, I tell you, there's no way they're going to turn that around.
Yeah, I think he's good.
Well, you can't blame the Dodgers for trying.
Yes.
Well, what a game for Counsell's first game as a manager.
In there, yes, sir. Now it's being reviewed. As the Dodgers challenge this, and in that first replay, it looked as though Ryan Braun had that beaten out, or at least not enough there at first view that would overturn it.
No, you never know. I mean,
right.
we've been sitting through these replays before and been surprised, but you can't blame the Dodgers for taking a look at it. But he's safe. I mean, he looks safe. You saw it on the scoreboard. This shouldn't take very long. Well, you got to love the way Braun was able to get out of that box. A lot of times you get jammed like that. It takes you a while to get out of the box. Yeah, he's stretching, and he's in there.
Review continues. It sure seemed as though Braun's in good shape here.
Boy, how big of a call this is, huh?
Yes, it is.
Gives the Brewers a lead, and they going into the 9th inning.
Safe at first. RBI for Braun. 4-3 Brew Crew.
Yep, a 3 spot in the 8th inning. 2 of them on Kershaw. How about that?
Yes, sir. Well, the Brewers have done what few can do in the regular season against Clayton Kershaw. Here's Aramis Ramirez.
Now knock one out of here.
All for that. Ramirez with 3 in the season, including one yesterday at Wrigley Field. Dodger bullpen, which had worked 26 straight scoreless innings. First run here, the first couple charged to Kershaw, but Brewers doing some damage here against Chris Hatcher. Here's the 1-0, not yet. So keeping an eye on Braun, who has one stolen base so far this year. There's a drive left field, but foul.
He turned it around, didn't he?
He got into that in a big way.
94 miles an hour, and Ramirez waiting for it. Likes the pitch inside. That pitch was well off the inside corner. Ramirez able to get the barrel of the bat on it.
One and one the count. Big eighth inning here for the Brewers. A big eighth inning yesterday, breaking the tie against the Cubs with a 2-run inning. Adam Lind, a double. It's followed a Hector Gomez double, or excuse me, a Hector Gomez homer to pull the Brewers within one. 2-2 now to Ramirez.
Boy, left-handed pinch hitters coming off the bench. A triple and a double tonight.
A triple from Gerardo Parra in the 6th, and a double from that man, Adam Lind, here in the 8th. Ramirez trying to get his first hit of the night. He has hit safely in 8 of his last 9 games. Trying to continue this rally here for Milwaukee. Hit in the air, shallow center, long run. Peterson, he'll get there. And the inning is over, but a good inning here for the Brewers. Hector Gomez, his first career homer, gets the crew within 1. Bottom of the order delivers, as does the top. Ryan Braun with an infield single to give the Brewers a 1-run lead. Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Adam Lind, big double in the 8th, stays in the game. He is at first. And Logan Schaefer patrols left field now for Milwaukee. And on the mound looking to get another save is Francisco Rodriguez.
Yeah, K-Rod in appearance number 10 here tonight. He's 4 for 4 so far this year, giving up 1 home run and 9 innings of work. K-Rod last pitch, he's in there yesterday against the Cubs and earned save number 4.
Top of the order for Los Angeles, Jock Peterson. Big swing and a miss.
Well, K-Rod's going to have to earn this one. He's got the top of the order to deal with.
And you see the shifts for Peterson. He led off the game with a homer to right. Walked in the 5th. He's grounded out, struck out his last trip in the 6th. Curve misses, 1-1. So 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. He's given the Brewers this 4-3 lead, and Rodriguez trying to finish off the Dodgers.
K-Rod had a really good changeup in yesterday's ball game. Got some early strikes with the breaking pitch. The changeup was as good as it's been.
Yeah, they did a great job getting the game over with before Rizzo came to the plate. I'd like to do the same thing tonight before Gonzalez steps in. And Peterson, Rollins, and Kendrick ahead of him. Brewers bullpen awfully good again tonight. Neil Kotz, Michael Blazek. Swing and a miss. That's out number 1 of the night.
Yep, there's the changeup to K-Rod. Very effective pitch against young hitters. There it is. Boy, look at the way that baby drops as it gets to home plate. Effective against young hitters, but he doesn't have young hitters coming up anymore.
No, he does not. The seasoned veterans, Jimmy Rollins and Howie Kendrick, and hopefully nobody else, because Gonzalez is in the hole. Avoid him if you can. Rollins tonight 0 for 4. Sent Gomez to the wall in the 5th inning. Here comes the 0-1. Brewers took 5 of the 6 matchups with the Dodgers last year. Trying to take the first of 4 here tonight. 0-2 to the shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. Just got a piece. Good ball game tonight. Kershaw looked to be sailing along, and then the Brewers mounting the rally with a run in the 6th and a big 3 spot in the 8th. Hector Gomez starting it with his first career home run. Rodriguez again, the 2-strike pitch. Ground ball to second. Hector Gomez gobbles it up. Out number 2. This morning, Craig Counsell in his news conference was asked about making a managerial debut against the likes of Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke. He said that's the big leagues. It's always a challenge. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a great story one day. 1 out away from a pretty good story tonight.
Yes, sir.
Howie Kendrick will face Rodriguez. Trying to make it 5 saves and as many opportunities in this first month of the season. to see his night. He began the night with a .292 average. Here comes the 1-0.
Now, needless to say, you don't want to walk Kendrick. That's not the guy you want to have to deal with.
Nope, he needs to be avoided. Let's see if Rodriguez is able to do that. 2-0 pitch coming. Ooh.
Well, it's been a tight zone all night for both teams. That one looked low. Fox Tracks had it on the borderline.
3 balls, no strikes. Big pitch coming up here for Francisco Rodriguez. 4 runs, 7 hits for the Brewers, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. Full count. It's the way it's supposed to be. That's why they're here. Watch the Brewers rally against the Cy Young winner. A strike away. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Game over. K-Rod gets it done again. 5th save of the year. And Craig Counsell in his managerial debut is victorious.
Boy, what a game, huh? Boy, that's a big league baseball game right there, folks. A comeback victory against the game's best. Doesn't get any better than that. Congratulations, Craig Counsell.
Yes, sir. When you play 162, hard to get 2 up or 2 down about any one game, but you can smile, be excited about this one. Brewers with 3 in the 8th, rally to win it 4-3. Let's send it over to Craig Kershaw, standing by with Brewers Live postgame.
An emotional win for the Brew Crew, the biggest smiles of the 2015 season without a doubt. We'll hear from new manager Craig Counsell and his 1-0 record when Brewers Live continues.